We're live. She said something about Hispanic heritage. Oh my God.
I now call this meeting of the Student Senate to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to come back to the land acknowledgement because I can't find the little card. In the meantime, we'll do first roll call.
Alvarez.
Here.
Bailey. Black. Black, are you here?
Here.
Okay. Blood.
Here.
Byers.
Here.
Koch.
Here.
Cox. Ediger.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
George. Okay. Kiefer. Glanville.
Here.
Glasscock.
Here.
Griffith.
Here.
Hassan Shakib. Hoffman.
Here.
Holmes. Holzmeister.
I'm proxying for him. I don't know.
Oh, okay. Jacobson. Jonak. Here. Carton.
Here.
Kidd.
Here.
Kermer.
Here.
Kramer. Lee.
Here.
Lilly.
Here.
Moltz.
Here.
Morris.
Here.
Guy Velasquez. Otto.
Here.
Owen. Phillips.
Here.
Palenko.
Here.
Prey. Here. Robbie. Here. Rafferty.
Hello, I'm here. George is here. I was having trouble with my network.
Richenberg.
Here.
Did
Ramirez.
you get that?
Here.
Hello.
Senator George.
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, thank you.
Ramirez.
Here.
Shaha Savari.
Here.
Shirky.
Here.
Stewart.
Here.
Strunk.
Here.
Sushanik.
Here.
Uphouse. Zacco.
Okay, I want to begin our Student Senate meeting taking place on Thursday, March 27th, 2025 with a land acknowledgement. We recognize that Kansas State University, as the first land-grant institution, stands on the ancestral lands of the Kaw people. Our state of Kansas is home to 4 federally recognized Native nations, the Iowa, Kickapoo, Prairie Band, Potawatomi, and Sac and Fox. We must remember that the land serving as the foundation for this institution was and still is stolen land acquired by white settlers. We pledge our commitment to creating decolonized spaces at the university while advocating for the support and future success of Indigenous faculty, staff, and students at K-State. And with that, we will now go into our first open period. Do we have any first open period speakers? President Divalbus.
All right, for privilege, could the parliamentarian pull up the doc camera?
Oh, I thought I did. Sorry. There we go.
My name is Nick Divalbus, and I am the president of the Tau Beta Pi Engineering Honor Society at the College of Engineering. Some of you got to know me a little bit last year on Student Senate, but I'm here today to invite every single person in this room, regardless of whatever college you come from. I'm here to invite you to the grand ballroom of the Student Union in just over 1 week from today, when we approach room cap in the grand ballroom, potentially over 1,000 people. We will see. We had over almost 300 last year, and that was on Good Friday with poor notice and poor advertisement. Now, we have a reputation to uphold and to surpass. So, come to the Engineering Formal. It's a celebration like no other. I was speaking with Andrew Lee earlier today. He said, I might have to come to the function. He might have to pull up to. Everyone should pull up. No, this is a transformational, transcendental even function that we're talking about here. So we're going to have a live K-State jazz band. There's going to be Woodridge, if you've seen Woodridge locally in concert here. They play at Aggieville and different places. We're going to have a DJ Shock from Manhattan. It's going to play there. Casino games, real poker, blackjack, roulette will be played. Now, what I will say is that I am not officially aware of any actual money that's being exchanged. And I don't endorse that. I'm not aware of it, if it does happen. But casino floor, live music. There'll be a karaoke room again. There was a packed house last time. You could see me singing karaoke. We even have My Heart Will Go On there, and I do sing that song. So if you want to see that, if you think it'll be embarrassing or if you think it'll be fantastic, you can find out next Friday. And there'll be food. Like I said, everyone's welcome, regardless of where you're from. You're all representatives of the student body, and we would love for SGA to have a better connection with the College of Engineering. So, and to my knowledge, April 4th will be the first day of a new administration. So it's a fair opportunity. If you'd like to RSVP, you can do it through the code there, or I will leave a flyer out yonder. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much for entertaining this.
Are there any questions for the speaker?
Yes.
Chair Koch.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh man, see, that's what the notes app on my phone's for. I've got a whole list of them, but I would definitely see. I will sing like Mariah. I will sing Celine. I'll sing any of those. But like Blake Shelton, that's a better one. Like In My Range. But you don't have to stay in your range. You can step outside your lane if you need to. So.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Are there any other first open period speakers tonight? Okay, seeing none, we will go into the approval of the minutes. The minutes were passed out today along with the agenda and the legislation tracking information. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Senator Shirkey.
I move to approve the minutes. Second.
Is there an objection? The minutes will stand approved, and we will now go into announcements. 1, proxies. If you're going to be absent from a Student Senate meeting, please fill out this link, even if you aren't sure if your absence will be excused. 2, if you'll be physically absent from Student Senate but would still like to attend via Zoom, please fill out the Student Senator Zoom request form, and Speaker Questa will review requests based on the Student Senate attendance policy. Please submit requests here. 3, want to give props to someone in Student Senate, fill out the Senate shout-out form, and Speaker Pro Tem Hesseltine will read them at the end of our meeting. Fill out your shout-outs here. 4 is the upcoming events calendar, and the quote of the week is, I say that we're at the end of one era and at the beginning of another, by President George H.W. Bush. We will now...
Correction. You have a closing parentheses on that quote.
Thank you. We will now go into commendations. The first is Resolution 242573, commendation to Engineers Without Borders, KSU. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Shirkey.
Move to consider Resolution 73.
Second.
The author will please come forward.
Resolution 242573, commendations to Engineers Without Borders, KSU. Authors Joseph Lilly, sponsors Jordan Kramer, Philip Shirkey. Whereas Engineers Without Borders, KSU, EWB KSU, in conjunction with the local community, began construction of a 2,100 square foot school in Afumbo, Malawi in 2022. whereas EWB KSU has funded the vast majority of the project costs themselves and will continue to do so with the expected contracted cost totaling $55,171. Whereas the school project team traveled to Afumbo in May 2023 to meet with the community to better understand the local needs and assess potential construction sites. Whereas grading is complete and the foundation for the school is nearly complete. That "and" needs to be moved. Hey, you said parentheses earlier. Whereas EWB plans to travel again to oversee and assist in the continued construction of the project. Whereas most students. And. Whereas EWB plans to travel again to oversee and assist in the continued construction of the project, and whereas most students in Afumbo could currently only afford primary education in the area, making this project a major infrastructural boost and a valuable asset to the community. Be it resolved that the Kansas State University Student Governing Association commends Engineers Without Borders KSU on their Afumbo School project. Upon passage by the, that should also say Section 2. Wow, what was I on? Anyway, upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Project Manager Dane Sathoff, School Project Lead Colton Brake, EWB KSU President Rory Jenkins, EWB Midwest Regional President Mason Erickson, Lead Provost and Executive Vice President Jesse Perez Mendez, and University President Dr. Richard H. Lynn.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? Senator Shirkey.
Question, do you know when they expect the entire project to be completed? Is that like 2026?
I believe they're opening in stages, and is Jordan Kramer here? I accidentally called him out. Anyway, yeah, I believe it's 2026. I think they're opening part of it in 25, though, for some reason or another.
Senator Hoffman.
Kind of following up that, do you know how many students the school helped?
It could vary. That's why I put the square footage, because it really, I mean, they could really pack people in there if they needed to.
Caucus Leader Kidd.
For line 33, does lead need to be in front of the provost's title? Does it need to be lead provost, or can it just be provost and executive vice president?
I should quit writing bills. No, that should be gone.
Okay. Could we also have doctor in front of Jesse Perez Mendez as well? Since he is.
I would have sent this one back.
Are there any further questions or corrections for the author? Parliamentarian Blood.
Would you be willing to send this to the Leroy E. Paisley Chair and Dean of the Carl Ellis College of Engineering, Dr. Matt O'Keefe, as well?
Sure.
Any further questions or corrections for the author? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution? Senator Shirkey.
I move to approve Resolution 73.
Unanimously?
Unanimously.
Second.
Is there an objection? Okay, the resolution will stand approved. With that, we will now move on to Resolution 74, Commendation to Kansas State University Student Governing Association Advisors and Support Faculty. Is there a motion to consider? Senator Glasscock.
I move to consider resolution 74.
Second.
The author will please come forward.
Resolution 242574, Commendation to Kansas State University Student Governing Association Advisors and Support Faculty. Authors Alexa Heseltine, sponsors Katie Albertson, Carson S. Cuesta, Brady Kappelman, Joseph Lilly, Andrew Navarro, Jack O'Malley, and Paige Vogelmore. Whereas student leaders rely on knowledgeable, compassionate, and committed advisors to provide support, guidance, and mentorship. Whereas the success of Kansas State University Student Governing Association is made possible in part by the dedication of its advisors, who offer steady leadership, institutional knowledge, and encouragement to all students. Whereas Dr. Thomas Lane, Dr. Jarek Jackson, Dr. Ryan Rafferty, Andy Thompson, Ali Coleman, Sarah Hyman, and Amy Lee consistently go above and beyond in their roles, fostering a welcoming and empowering environment for student leaders to thrive. And whereas their time, energy, and care have a lasting impact on the lives of students and the greater university community. Be it resolved that Section 1, KSU SGA formally commends and thanks Dr. Thomas Lane, Dr. Derek Jackson, Dr. Ryan Rafferty, Andy Thompson, Allie Coleman, Sarah Hyman, and Amy Lee for their invaluable contributions and support of student leaders in KSU SGA. Section 2, upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Associate Professor Dr. Ryan Rafferty, Director for Student Programs and Involvement Sarah Hyman, Accountant Amy Lee, Assistant Vice President and Senior Associate Dean Andy Thompson, Assistant Dean Director of Conduct Allie Coleman, Associate Vice President for Community Building Dr. Derek Jackson, Vice President for Academic Success and Dean of Students Dr. Thomas Lane, and University President Dr. Richard H. Linton.
Are there questions or corrections for the author? Senator Shirkey.
Love the bill. I have just boring technical corrections. Between lines 3 and 4, I think there should be an enter there. And on line 27, it says support the of. I think the words the and of need to be switched. And then on line 30, Dr. Ryan Rafferty, the doctor doesn't have a punctuation mark on it.
Are there any further questions or corrections? Chair Sushanik.
Yeah, would you want to add the DEIB advisor and the 2 SSF advisors I've had this term?
Yeah, that's okay. Just text them to me.
Okay, perfect.
Any further questions or corrections? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to approve the resolution? Senator Glasscock.
I move to approve Resolution 74.
Is there an objection? The resolution will stand approved. With that, we will now go into committee reports. Are there any committee chairs who'd like to give a report? Chair Strunk.
All right. Hey guys, didn't have anything super prepared. Just wanted to tell you that the Student Allocations Committee allocated $207,000 between our 3 separate funding pools, and I wanted to come up here and thank the committee members in the room and all of you for voting to approve those allocations. So, thanks.
Is that a question, Senator Shirkey?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, like, in comparison to like last year, do you know for all those allocations if we've had increasing demand for student support, decreasing demand?
Off the top of my head, we had an increase in demand for sports clubs, a little bit of a decrease, at least money-wise, for academic competition teams, and we certainly ran out of money faster for campus-wide organizations. So.
Thanks.
Are there any further questions for the chair? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Are there any further committee chairs who like to give a report? Okay, seeing none, are there any Chair Lee, so sorry.
Hi guys, this is the last one. Hooray! Hippie! But yeah, I think I just wanted to give you guys basically a final allocation update as to where our committee kind of stands. Again, this is prior to the name change, but you'll see that next term. But yeah, again, what is the fund? So again, a reminder: DPF are requests for on-campus projects with educational value that are intended to provide cross-cultural learning experiences or education on the topics of blah, blah, blah there. So basically, this is how our committee makes its funding decisions in what we consider whenever we take in applications. So basically, we have reviewed this year 38 submissions. So compared to last year, I think there was about 35. So we're up 3 applications this year. We've accepted 24 and denied 14. Now the number, we've denied about 30% of the submissions. Just a note, this also includes repeat or resubmitted applications. A lot of folks just mess up the first time, so you fix it and we reject it and redo it again. So, yeah. All right, so this is what we've allocated so far. $131,655. We have about $6,000 remaining. And yeah, so as you can see here, what groups kind of make up the most of it. Is there a laser thing on here? No. Wait. Oh. I can't even see it. But basically, yes, the Indian Student Association here maxed out on their applications. Also did, and then African Student Union made up a large chunk of it as well. So feel free to take a picture of that if you want. Very good. I'll not work. Okay, so I'm not going to read this to you, but you can take a picture of it if you want. These are basically all the applications that we have received and the decision that the committee has made. As you can see, we also included folks that didn't get any money from us as well. We had a pretty diverse pretty diverse slate of applications that came in from all sorts of different groups. Got the Muslim Student Association, Cats Covered Ambassadors, all different groups came out and applied for DPF funding as well. So, yeah, pretty cool, pretty cool. Well done. Thanks, Carson. Basically, my final thoughts. My final thoughts from this year. I think, like Gavin said, I want to just come here and thank all my committee members in the room, my vice chair, and Daniel and Sophia. I don't know who she is, but everyone that served in our committee this year. We had a really good group of folks that are really dedicated and really passionate about the work that we do. We had really great discussions, and really when we had kind of years in the past, conflict was handled a little bit differently, but this year I think conflict went by smoothly, and we really were able to make really good, tough decisions. And also the work of the committee. Outside of DPF applications, we also did tabling in the union to promote the SGA elections. We had one of our own committee members write a piece of legislation and kind of help draft that. And again, I think our committee was very consistent. We were very productive. And I'd also like to note that our committee, I think, did a really good job of being fiscally mindful as to throughout every single application. Everyone was always under the assumption that we need to be mindful of how much we're allocating and knowing that we want to preserve it for as long as we can so that other student organizations have a chance to get access to our funds as well. And then again, at the end of the day, the committee was also really integral in helping us with the name change and helping us kind of get to where we are now. And so there's much more work to be done in next year's committee, and I look forward to helping next year's chair kind of transition into it and it succeed more next year as well.
Are there any questions for the committee chair, Senator Shirky?
Yeah, so all the at the very least, kind of the macro level data, like the pie charts and stuff, to kind of like show how your budget gets put out to students. Is that stuff like available on the K-State website so like our community members can see how this stuff works? Because there's a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah, the pie chart, not specifically. I think the closest we have to that is our minutes. Our minutes are uploaded, as every committee is. So people can go into Org Central and see how much we've been allocating and kind of the notes from those meetings as well. Yeah.
And then I have a follow-up to that.
Granted.
How do we, because I saw there were a lot of groups that were awarded $0. Mm-hmm. How can we, going back to our own colleges and talking to the diverse communities there.
Yeah.
How can we make sure that they have the information they need to get good allocation proposals for sound events? Like, do you want us to just cut through the statutes, or do you have like some kind of guideline checklist we can send out to help people apply?
Yeah, so on the website currently, there's a funding slide and a funding I kind of take everything that I've learned and made it more digestible for folks. I really recommend people check out the website. A lot of people don't. Also attending the funding workshops in the future. I think Gavin and I did a really good job of getting folks to show up for those funding workshops, but also it's really engaging. And I didn't see many folks come out there for DPF funding, but for SAC funding specifically. But I think that will avoid some of the issues that we face with a lot of these applications, because I think there's just kind of a lot of the rejected ones are just misunderstandings as to what our general area of focus is as a committee, and so again, just being more mindful of that. But also, I think the committee can do a way better job next year, even just communicating more about the purpose of the funds, and also working with the chair. I think I tried my best to make myself as successful as I can to new presidents of different student organizations and people across the campus community to reach out to me and I can help them through the application process as well.
Thanks.
Are there any further questions, Senator Hoffman?
Yeah, I think can you go to the slide before?
The pie chart?
Yeah, it's not there's just $6,000 that the DPF didn't fund. It's not really a question of really just Why did the committee why did the committee allocate that money?
The last $6,000.
Yeah.
We had one final application, which was, I think, was it the Young Dems? I think up here. That was kind of the biggest one, I feel, and that was a $20,000 proposal. But the $6,000 wouldn't have covered that. Wouldn't have, even if we gave them the money, they would just return to our accounts anyways. And so, yeah. And so just based on that, and also the other applications, the committee decided that the veterans one didn't fit the purpose of the DPF fund, and so we weren't able to allocate that as well. So that's why we saw that $6,000 left over. But for me, I wish we would have ran straight to zero. But I would rather be where we're at now than have to pull out of reserves.
Are there any further questions for the committee chair, Senator Alvarez?
What are you most proud of for this term?
Oh, such a sweet question. Wow. I think what I'm most proud of is I'm most proud of just the folks I got to work with. I think that we built such a tight connection in our committee. Got to know when you guys got to know my day list. I got to know your day list. So I think just that the bond and the culture that we formed as a committee is just something different. And I think in years prior, me serving on the DIB committee and even other veterans that have served for a while, I think this year we've noticed a stark shift in how our committee operates and just the vibe that's kind of there. And so I'm really happy that everyone wanted to be there, everyone was there, and that we were still able to get a lot of stuff done this year as well. So yeah.
Are there any further questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any further committee chairs who would like to give a report tonight? Chair Lilly.
Just kind of as a wrap up, and then something I remembered like last second. So we went through 13 expulsion considerations this term. You only saw 2 of them. 4 of them were recommended for expulsion. 2 of those resigned before it went to Senate. So that was, I've been kind of not publicizing that because health information reasons, but I feel like that's something I should report. And then I'm working on government document updates, and I'm hoping those will be out before the first Senate of the next term. So we're updating all of those, and they should be done by then.
Are there any questions for the chair? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Are there any further committee chairs who would like to give a report? Okay, seeing none, are there any directors who would like to report? Elections Commissioner Kermer.
All right, so I just wanted to give a brief rundown of my elections report that I presented in Senate Ops on Tuesday. It's kind of my job to present to you based on the findings that we found from this past election and how we can change going forward. So looking at student turnout, we're sitting at 1,971 student voters who voted in the student body president race. It's kind of weird. The amount of voters versus who voted changed based on like the Senate races. So for that, we're just going based off the student body president one. There's some people who didn't vote for student body president, but then voted for their senators. But you see last year, there was 3,250 people who voted in that race, but that was also a contested race. So it's great to see that when we had an uncontested race, our voter turnout was higher than 2023. This year, like I mentioned before, this was the most students that we've had files since 2019. We were sitting at 106 people that had filed before a couple people dropped out before the election, so 103 is that final number. And you can see based on the different colleges as well. So I'm going to kind of reflect on what last year's election looked like. So last year, we only saw competitive races in ag, arts and sciences, and business. And then 2025, we saw that completely shift. Just a side note with college education, they had 3 seats total allocated, and they filled those 3 seats. So, yeah, they filled it. They get a special gold star for filling those seats, but it wasn't necessarily competitive. Same thing with Vet Med, and then HHS, also kind of the same way, but they had a weird tie situation that has since been broken. So also looking at 2024, our voter turnout, just mention again, that was a contested student body president race, was 21% in 2024, and then that's a 0.3% of people who decided to run for Senate. So then looking at, and looking at 2025, that went down to 12%, but we do see a 0.3% increase for those people who decided to run. That's due to the 103 people who have filed for Senate. So some of you may have heard that we pushed our election schedule back a little bit to make room for the IT updates that needed to happen. That was to comply with Bill 242505, which was placing the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design students all just under the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design. There's a weird situation happening where when the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design students apply for grad school, they're then categorized under the grad school category, but they're really more tied still to the College of Architecture, Planning, and Design until they graduate. So with that, we saw a 107% increase in the number of voters for the College of APD this year, which is seen as a great success. Separate topic for IT updates, the cases filing form needs a complete overhaul, in my opinion. It's it works for what it is currently, but it needs to reflect the same issues of Bill 242505. There's several people who went to go file, particularly for Vet Med was a big issue this year, where they couldn't file for Vet Med and they were forced to file for grad school. So then we manually have to go change their filing to be Vet Med. But so that means the elections commissioner should be appointed earlier so that they can resolve this with IT. And in doing so, this would be beneficial. So the Elections Promotion Commission would start being able to meet earlier as well. Elections promotion, the inaugural year of the Elections Promotion Commission was very successful. We employed several new promotional strategies this year. That committee kind of served as a brainstorming session each meeting that we had. And then I would say that the increase of students filed this year came from new filing promotional strategies that we implemented. In the future, it would be great to establish a dedicated fund for elections promotion, which could potentially decrease obstacles needed for funding approval. And this is perfect considering that SGA is up for SSF review this coming year. Brian? And then here in the next couple of weeks, we will see a few minor elections code revisions just based on feedback from the Elections Board, the Judicial Branch, and then the Elections Promotion Commission. So look for those in the next couple weeks.
Are there any questions, Senator Griffith?
Point of information, if I remember correctly, the governing documents were updated in the big elections code overhaul we had last year that the elections commissioner is now appointed in the spring semester. I believe that's the case.
That is correct. It's just up to the next speaker to whether or not they're going to follow that.
Senator Shirky.
On the election promotion side, because I don't know, how the committee is structured. Have you been able to do it this year, or do you think future election systems should do this? Have a more college level recruitment effort, or is there any steps that SGA as a whole can take to make sure that every last college is getting those seats filled? That it's not just just art side, business, engineering getting all the fun, while everyone else is having trouble staying competitive.
Yeah. Part of why we saw more success this year with getting people to file was that there was a graphic that was made with a QR code that would take people to the filing form that was sent to every single college to maybe put on their TVs that they have in their building. I think over half of those colleges put that on their TV, and after we saw that, or did that, we saw 30 new people file right after that. So it's great to see something we implemented taking effect right away. It was the same thing with the Canvas notification that you might have saw, reminding people to file. right after we implemented that change, we saw another influx of 30 people filing. I guess that would just be up to the next elections commissioner to figure out who's in what college, and maybe we can strategically place people on the elections promotion commission based on colleges that need a little bit more help.
Caucus Leader Kidd.
Thank you for sharing this with us tonight. How much time do you think would be needed to consult with IT to fix those issues that you put in your presentation? If you had to guess.
So the cases filing form is a separate IT team from the actual election system. From my understanding, talking with Sarah, there is no one left on the current IT team that helped create that cases filing form. So that's gonna take a little bit more time than the election system updates that we did. But I think if we get the elections commissioner in place within this semester for next year, we'd be golden, because then they have all semester to work, or all summer to work on that as well.
Can I ask a follow-up?
Yes.
Perfect. And then, can you remind the body, how does it work for dual major students? How does the system determine which college they get to vote for when elections occur?
Yeah, so you're talking about people who might be arts and sciences and engineering. The filing system categorizes as what your primary major is and what college that categorizes it with, and that's what you're able to file under. But again, that might be something we look under with the new cases filing system, making that a little bit more clear.
Thank you.
Senator Shirkey.
Is that mandatory, or could a student hypothetically that was listed as, say, engineering primary, art sci additional, but they felt more connected with art sci and better able to represent them? Would you be legally allowed as the elections commissioner to say, all right, I'll put you on art sci, man? Is that, or really the real question is that a capability you should have?
Is that legislated anywhere?
Legislated, no. In terms of ability is possible. Has happened. I think especially you get really tricky when you start getting into graduate school and graduate students and stuff, but especially for undergraduate students, if you really want to run in the College of Arts and Sciences instead of the College of Engineering, I don't think anyone would stop you from doing that.
True.
Any other questions? Chief of Staff Kappelman.
First of all, thank you for putting this together. Would you be able to send this out to everybody afterwards?
Yes, for sure.
Senator Hoffman.
Just the week delay, that's only because of the IT updates, right? That won't have to be.
It was only for the IT updates, but I kind of found that week delay beneficial. So we might see a rework of that schedule. I don't know how it would play out with everything else that follows after the election, but we'll have to take a look at that and see if we can change things around. I know one election schedule change that we will be making is that results will no longer be released on Thursday. We're going to change it back to the election ends at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, and results are released by 11:59 p.m. on Wednesday. That way we don't run into a quorum issue with Senate on Thursday.
Time for questions has expired.
Okay, with that, we will now keep going with directors' reports. Are there any further directors who have a report? Chief of Staff Kappelman.
All right. Wanted to come up really quick and talk about cabinet for next year. I just want to let all of you guys know the applications for cabinet and chief of staff are now open. So if you're still wanting to be involved in SGA next year and you want to go the executive branch route, you're welcome to apply. I can send an email to our big SGA group chat or mailing group to give the applications and all that stuff, as information about all of the different positions that we're offering and things like that. But if you'd also like to learn more, talk to us. Zoe and I will be in the back if you want to chat about that after Senate. Cabinet is a lot of fun. It's a little different than Senate, so if you want to shake things up in your SGA life, we'd love to talk about that further with you guys. So that's all I have, unless you guys have questions.
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you. Are there any further directors who would like to give a report? Okay, seeing none, we will now go into final action on Bill 242578, certification of the 2025 KSU SGA general election results, referred favorably from the Senate Operations Committee 4 to 0 to 0. If the author will please come forward. Were there any changes in committee?
There was supposed to be, but there was not. We were supposed to change there was a bunch of contention over whether or not I could change it. And by a bunch of contention, I mean me versus everyone else. So Jack O'Malley, we're just gonna add an apostrophe.
You have first rights to debate.
Don't vote against this, that would be bad. We would have to do another election. That's all I got.
Seeing as that was debate in the positive on resolution 78. No. 72, yeah. Seeing as that was debate in the positive, is there any debate in the negative? Seeing none, is there any debate in the positive? And yep, Chair Lee?
I just had a.
Okay.
Are we fixing Yeah, that we were all.
Is the name fixed?
I didn't send an updated version. I think both of those changes were made during Senate last Senate.
Okay, so yes is the answer then?
I can just edit it later.
Okay. With that, is there any further debate at all for resolution 72? Okay, seeing none, we will now go into a hand vote on resolution 72. If you are in favor of passing the resolution, please raise your placards now. Proxies raised too. Okay, you can lower them. All opposed, same sign. And any abstentions? Okay, with that, resolution 72 will pass on a hand vote. And we will now go into second open period. Are there any second open period speakers? Okay, seeing none, we will now go into Senate shoutouts.
Okay. And Brandon and Brian need to fight to the death over who gets to adjourn the 24-25 SGA term. Shout out to the future speaker, Moses Morris, in the back for being so well behaved tonight. Can you show Moses to us? No? Okay. Moses is a cat. Shout out to the engineering formal. This year I'll have 1 4 million, nay 1 4 billion attendees. Bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, 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 ciao. Round of applause to Captain Lily's son, Joseph II, for taking on his father's duty for this final meeting. He has his father's eyes.
Okay. There's no reference of legislation, so we'll now go into second roll call.
Alvarez.
Here.
Bailey. Black.
Here.
Flood.
Here.
Byers.
Here.
Koch.
Here.
Cox. Edgar.
Here.
Erickson.
Here.
George.
Here.
Kiefer. Glanville.
Here.
Glasscock.
Here.
Griffith.
Still here.
Hassan Shakib. Kaufman.
Here.
Holmes. Holzmeister. Jonak. Carton.
Here.
Kidd. Kramer. Kermer.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Lilly. Moltz.
Here.
Nagai Velasquez.
Here.
Otto.
Here.
Owen. Phillips.
Here.
Polanco.
Here.
Prey.
Here.
Robbie.
Here.
Rafferty. Richenberg.
Here.
Ramirez.
Here.
Shaw Savari.
Here.
Shirky.
Here.
Sides. Stewart. Junk. Sushanik.
Here.
Uphouse. Sacco.
And a pizza.
Is there a motion to adjourn? Senator Kermer.
I move to adjourn.
That's it? Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there an objection? Okay, we stand adjourned.
You're trying to hit him